Mandela's legacy. What if this was the test? We've talked about memory, about timelines, about AI, physics, archives, and reality. But now we reach the heart of the matter, not the science, but the meaning. Because if the Mandela effect began with one man's death that never happened, then we have to ask, what if it wasn't about the event, but about our reaction to it? What if remembering something the world says never occurred isn't a symptom of confusion, but a test of consciousness? Let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Nelson Mandela, as a figure, is more than a politician or a president. He is a mythic symbol, a man who represented freedom through sacrifice, a figure of endurance, of dignity under pressure, a living archetype of resistance against structural injustice. And in spiritual terms, archetypes are not just personalities, they are nodes of meaning. They're energetic structures that organize emotion, identity, and values. That means Mandela isn't just a man in history. He's a consciousness landmark in the human collective, a beacon, a fixed coordinate in our understanding of what matters, what's moral, what's real. And that's exactly why his not death shattered something. Because it created a void where there was once certainty. A version of the world where a martyr died in prison, replaced by one where he lived, ruled, and passed away peacefully. That change is not just narrative, it's metaphysical. So here's the question. What if the Mandela effect is not about trauma to the timeline, but a test of discernment? What if it was never about proving who's right, but about revealing who can feel the fracture? Not everyone noticed. Some never remembered the earlier version. Others updated instantly. But a specific group of people didn't sink. They felt it. They remembered. They questioned. And they suffered. Because to carry a memory that no longer matches your world is to walk with a phantom. You can't prove it. You can't find it. But it's there, in you, every day. That's not madness. That's retention. That's soul fidelity. The refusal of consciousness to surrender to reprogramming. And that might be the point. In mythic traditions, the hero's journey begins not when the hero fights the dragon, but when they realize the map is a lie. When they step beyond the known and say, something doesn't fit here. The Mandela memory is that moment for millions. It is the dragon's breath, curling silently through the timeline. And the people who remember it differently are the ones who turned their heads and said, wait, that's not how it was. So what if the real purpose of the Mandela memory is to act as a filter, a kind of quantum audit, not a glitch, but a signal, to see who would catch the change, to see who would question the new story, to see who would remember, even when the entire world told them to forget. This interpretation reframes the Mandela effect not as an error, but as a threshold, a gateway experience for those waking up to the plasticity of reality. Because once you question the timeline, you begin to question everything. You begin to see the simulation, the edits, the narratives, and you begin to reclaim your own perception. Nelson Mandela, in this context, becomes a metaphysical archetype of spiritual resistance, not just against apartheid, but against reality assimilation. In one version of history, he died early. In another, he rose to power. And in both, he functions as a test. The split in his life becomes the split in our memory. And how we respond reveals something deeper about who we are. Let's go one step further. What if the death in prison timeline was the real one? The one we lived in until some moment of interference, CERN, simulation reset, quantum anomaly, when another version was stitched in its place? And what if those who felt the shift, those who held on to that prior version, were not the delusional ones, but the retainers of the original layer? That would mean memory is not just subjective, it's sacred. It would mean your grief, your confusion, your unease, it wasn't failure, it was evidence. Evidence that you felt the shift, that your soul noticed, that some part of you, deep beyond logic, refused the new narrative. And if that's true, then the Mandela effect, beginning with Mandela himself, was never just a series of anomalies. It was a countdown, a portal, a disclosure hidden in plain sight. One man, two deaths, two timelines, one collective split. So now we ask, if reality can be rewritten, who gets to keep the truth? And more importantly, if you do, what will you do with it? You see, this isn't just about remembering Mandela. It's about remembering yourself. Before the sync, before the overwrite, before the algorithm told you that your own experience no longer mattered. This is the line in the sand, the memory that says, I was there, I saw it, I remember. And no archive can take that from you. So as the timeline continues to shift, subtly, surgically, silently, hold fast to the knowing, to the fragments that don't match, to the truths that no longer have proof. Not because they're convenient, not because they're trendy, but because you were there and you remember. And in this collapsing, editable world, memory isn't just power, it's rebellion. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11x published author, and what you just watched was only a taste of what's inside the Truth series, where we go all the way down the rabbit hole. If you're the kind of person who's always asking bigger questions, who knows there's more to this world than what we've been told, then this is your invitation to the series that was built for you. Inside the Truth series, you'll get full access to 6 mind-blowing sub-series designed to wake up your highest intelligence and decode the matrix we live in. 1. Locate the truth. Learn how to actually research, not just what to search, but how to verify, cross-reference, read declassified files, and protect your own mind from weaponized misinformation. This is truth-seeking decoded. 2. The Mandela effect. Are we shifting timelines? Why do so many people remember a different past? We break down the most bizarre, undeniable examples of reality glitches and what they tell us about consciousness and control. 3. Law is magic. Law is not what you think it is. From word spells to maritime law and hidden contracts, we uncover how legal systems use language like a wand and how to stop being tricked by fine print that binds you without consent. 4. Entertainment or ritual. The Hollywood and music industries are not just for entertainment. From Super Bowl rituals to Grammy stage symbolism, we decode what's really being shown, who it serves, and why mass consciousness is the target. 5. Decoding dystopia. Ever wondered why dystopian fiction feels prophetic? In this subseries, we decode popular films and books, Hunger Games, 1984, Black Mirror, to reveal the hidden blueprints and predictive programming behind the plot. 6. MK Ultra plus mind control programs. This one gets deep. From real MK Ultra documents to modern symbolism in media, we expose how mind control operates in plain sight and how to free yourself from manipulation you didn't even know was happening. And that's just the beginning. If this resonated with you, click the links below and join us inside the Full Truth series, because the more you know, the harder you are to control. This is your awakening. We don't just ask questions, we find answers. Let's go all the way down the rabbit hole together.